Hey there, I'm Tony Nicopol, and this is The Uplift. We got a great show for you, a great cast of characters as well, including these. A woman who saw a lonely widow and made it her mission to find her a companion. Also, a couple who took over an abandoned orchard and used that bounty of apples to help others. And a woman who wanted to clean up the litter in her community and decided to do it in a character as a clown. And we'll take you to the Gentle Barn, where they help animals in need of healing and then help humans do the very same thing. All of that and much, much more. Heartwarming news coming your way. You're watching The Uplift. Boy, oh boy, welcome to The Uplift. That's the show that lifts you up for at least the next 30 minutes. I like to say you and me as well. And we're going to begin here with a widow who once lived on a picturesque pond in Iowa with her mate, but when he died, all she had was her reflection in the water. That is, until a community member helped find her companionship once again. Here's Steve Hartman.
Good morning. This is Meryl beside me.
And this is our lesson on companionship.
Emmett, at the dictionary desk, how are you defining this one?
I'd say companionship is like a level beyond friendship. It's a deep relationship that makes you feel stronger and safer.
Safer emotionally, right? Who do you guys have like that?
Lucy?
Your friend Lucy?
Yeah.
What makes her more of a companion?
Well, we've just always had each other, and we've always been friends, and for as long as I can remember.
Yeah, we all need someone like that. In fact, it's such a crucial part of life, even some animals need it. As you'll see in this story, pulled from our library, about love and loss and that saving grace called companionship. To me, some of the saddest tombstones are the incompletes, the couples where one has passed but the other still present, buried above under a mound of loneliness, such as the case of Blossom the goose.
Blossom lost her mate, Bud. They lived on the pond here at Riverside Cemetery in Marshalltown, Iowa. And according to cemetery staff, after Bud died, Blossom's grief was as evident as any human's.
Her behavior was it was quite a change.
General Manager Dory Tommen says Blossom started hanging out near the front office, always staring at herself in the glass or the model tombstones.
She wanted company.
Even if it's just a reflection.
Yeah.
And that's when Dory got a crazy idea. A hysterically lovely, crazy idea. She posted a personal ad that read in part, "Lonely widowed domestic goose seeks life partner for companionship and occasional shenanigans. I'm youthful, adventurous, and lively."
I mean, what are the odds you're going to find some goose, a male goose?
Oh, in Iowa?
Apparently, this state is lousy with bachelor geese. And sure enough, she got a call from Deb and Randy Hoyt, owners of a widower goose named Frankie.
He needed a mate.
Yeah, and plus he's so lonely.
I thought, well, that'll be great,
And so they set up a blind date where Blossom welcomed Frankie with open wings.
They started walking off together, and they haven't really left each other's sides since.
A loving reminder that until your last day is etched in stone, don't ever give up on finding goosebumps.
Goose matchmaker Dory Tommen joins us now. Hello.
Good morning.
Are Blossom and Frankie still together?
Oh, yes. I just live 3 blocks from the cemetery, so I drive through and check on them now and then.
Do they recognize you?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I call them like, goose, goose, goose. Only louder.
So Blossom isn't staring at her reflection anymore?
No, I haven't seen her do that at all. She had never done that before she lost Bud either.
What do you think they get from their relationship?
Having the company of another creature. I think in a lot of ways animals aren't a whole lot different from human beings.
Dory, thanks so much for talking with us. Appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Companionship makes life better. And finding a companion doesn't have to be a wild goose chase, as long as you're kind and accepting.
more often than not, companions will flock to you. We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay kind.
Coming up, an abandoned orchard with too many apples to pick is reinvented as a place to grow food for those in need. You are looking at the iconic Spoon Bridge and Cherry at the Walker Art Center in Minneapolis. It's become an unofficial state symbol, attracting more than 600,000 visitors every year. And we have a smaller Minnesota landmark to highlight for you today. This one in the small town of Arco, where John Lawrenson has, well, the story behind the Rock House.
Small towns in rural America often get overlooked. As their population shrinks, their history can fade. But you could say Arco remains rock solid in western Minnesota.
We'll just look out the window and a car will just be stopped out in the road. They are just, wow, I can't believe somebody took the time to do this.
That somebody was a man named H.P. Peterson. He was a rock collector who opened a gas station in 1936. And if you're filling up with gas, you couldn't help but notice that the building was covered in pipestone, pink quartz, volcanic rock, and possibly even a dinosaur egg or two. Why do you think he did this?
I think he just enjoyed rock collecting and he didn't know what to do with the rocks.
Oh, no, never a chance.
Liz and Dave Herzog have lived in the gas station turned house for the past 25 years. Dave believes it took Peterson decades to piece all of this together. He gathered millions of rocks while on family vacations in other parts of the country and then made them part of his facade.
He must have had a design in mind.
Peterson didn't stop with his house. He also built this Liberty Bell, and his son Vernon built this rock ram and the Statue of Liberty.
I watched him build the Statue of Liberty. I watched him build a goat.
Owen Bergen says at one point the Petersons had all kinds of creations on their property. Over time, they were moved a stone's throw away to Anderson Park. Relocating Lady Liberty was no easy task.
It took an army to get this out of that front door.
The Herzog's patio now sits where the rock garden creations used to be. In the 40s and 50s, kids could see them while their parents filled up with gas.
The gazebo here was used as admittance. They sold you tickets, 25 cents to walk around through the garden. I mean, it was quite impressive through there.
The house is still impressive. The home like this should come with a falling rock sign. Sometimes you're sitting out here and what do you hear?
A thunk. You'll hear. Usually it's in the winter and we're in the house because I believe the freeze thaw.
An unusual homeowner problem. Even so, the Herzogs wouldn't change a thing.
It's not just a bunch of rocks put together. There are designs on this house. And the more you look at it, the more designs you see.
In Arco, with photojournalist Nick Luneman, John Lawrenson, WCCO News.
And along we go now to a once abandoned orchard producing apples that would have rotted and gone to waste until a local couple stepped in. Here's Caitlin O'Kane.
400 apple trees yields thousands of apples, and sometimes that's just too many to pick. When Jeffrey Levine and his wife took over Heirloom Farm in North Garden, Virginia, it had been abandoned by a commercial farmer. The apples would have gone to waste without them stepping in.
There's sort of a dichotomy of my career is focused on real estate development, which is about growth, and this farming is more about preservation.
But instead of profiting from the excess apples, they found a way to use them to help others. The Levines partnered with the Society of St. Andrew, a hunger relief nonprofit focusing on food wastage and poverty-induced starvation.
What we really see is people wanting to bring, fresh produce, and that can be hard to get. You've seen it in the grocery store; it's expensive nowadays. Through those gleaning events and through volunteer help, what we do is provide that at no cost to the food pantry, no strings attached.
So instead of falling off the tree and rotting like a bad apple, these are good apples going to food pantries. And it's not just local. The Society of St. Andrew distributes food throughout the country. The abandoned farm with too many apples to pick is now producing just the right amount.
Coming up, an extra special introduction to Bria, the rescue goat who was so malnourished she could barely walk, but she ended up at a place called the Gentle Barn. Things worked out. Their story coming up. There's a corn maze in Danville, Indiana, 4 acres of husk with a message carved out to celebrate Hendricks County's bicentennial year. That's 200 years, people. Here at the Uplift, we are celebrating farmers with October 12th being National Farmers Day. So we're going to go now on an extra special journey to a farm where animals are not only cared for, they give care to others. Here's Caitlin O'Kane.
At a typical farm, you might milk a cow, but how about hug it? You might feed a goat, but what about massage it? At the Gentle Barn, animals don't just get basic care, they get compassion, empathy, rehab, and yes, sometimes massages. The animals here are rescues, some of them disabled, and all of them in need of a little gentleness. Gentle Barn founder Ellie Lax had a lifelong passion for animals, but it was one goat in the San Fernando Valley of California that inspired her to create the sanctuary.
I discovered a petting zoo I'd never seen before, went in, saw horrendous suffering of animals there, found a goat that was blocking the exit who was asking me for help. And I found the owner and said, "Can I have her?" She said no. I said, "Well, I'm gonna stay here till you say yes." I stayed there for 12 days. Finally, she allowed me to bring her home, and I worked with this wonderful mobile vet to trim her overgrown toenails, remove her tumors. He taught me how to massage her deformed legs so she could walk again. And before I knew it, she was walking, running, and bouncing around my backyard as happy as can be. I said in that moment, this is what I was born to do. I want to take animals that have nowhere else to go, no other chances, and I want to bring them to the Gentle Barn. I want to rehabilitate them physically and emotionally, and I want to give them life.
The Gentle Barn takes care of 200 rescue animals across 3 locations in Santa Clarita, California, Tennessee, and Missouri. All of them have unique needs and backstories, like Bria the goat, who was malnourished with atrophied legs when she was rescued.
Bria's story starts with the act of a hero in the community that was a delivery person delivering something to a random farm and saw Bria walking on her knees, being bullied by the other sheep and goats. She was clearly malnourished and underweight. And instead of driving away and minding her own business, she went and found the owner, asked them what was going on. They said that Bria had not been able to walk for 2 months and that they were not willing to give her any vet care. This hero still didn't walk away and negotiated the release of Bria and brought her all the way to the Gentle Barn so that we could help her.
Bria was 20 pounds when she was found, about 40 pounds underweight.
The mission of the Gentle Barn is to specifically take in animals that have nowhere else to go because they're too old, too sick, too injured, or too scared to be adoptable. Bria is the perfect example of what we do here at the Gentle Barn, where we take a broken animal, physically and in spirit, and we rehabilitate them.
And it's not just the physical rehab. They read to her, play music, massage her aching muscles, and thanks to the gentleness she's received at the barn, Bria has gained 18 pounds in just 2 months.
When an animal is scared of people, suffering out in the world, and has no trust, it's very hard to heal an animal like that because they don't have many reasons to live. So one of the most important things when an animal comes into the Gentle Barn is to give them reasons to live, and that starts with love. And when she came in, she was a shell of a being, both emotionally and physically. And over the last few weeks, we have seen her blossom and brighten.
Lax says Bria was rescued just in time for her walking ability to be restored. Other animals need more extreme care, like Lolly at their Tennessee farm, who needed a specialized goat wheelchair before she could graduate to prosthetics.
There's so much technology with splints and braces and prosthetic legs and wheelchairs that sanctuaries are really able to save lives and give that animal a good quality of life, and they can thrive, just like a human, you know.
From sound baths to acupuncture, the Gentle Barn employs several different therapies to help animals heal from trauma. And the animals aren't the only ones getting therapy they need. Humans do too. The farms are open to the public on Sundays, and one of the programs they offer is cow hug therapy. Yes, cow hugs. These cows, genetically modified to grow very big, were rescued by the Gentle Barn. The hugging not only comforts the cows, but for humans, they say it can mimic the feeling of being a newborn again.
We work with many people that are suffering in their own lives. They go to talking therapy, and though it can be wonderful, it's not for everyone. Nonetheless, they're looking for a mode of healing. At the Gentle Barn, we offer healing with our animals that do not require words or thought. It just requires us to be with the animals, and we can feel their love, we can feel their nurturing, we feel small, helpless, and vulnerable against a giant protective frame. It's like a giant mom hug, and it restores our hope, it restores our strength, and it gives us the courage and the capacity to keep going. And we have seen people that are suffering from grief, trauma, depression, anxiety, loneliness, come and reconnect and restore in the arms and the embraces of our animals.
Whether they're restoring the strength of a goat like Bria or helping a person with their healing, at this barn, there is nothing more powerful than the gentleness of love.
When we look through the lens of love, we realize that we are all connected, that it's our job to lift each other up, and that when we choose gentleness, that we have more power than we realize.
Coming up, why is there a clown walking around Port Huron, Michigan with trash? You'll find out after the break. When a stay-at-home mom in Michigan realized there was a litter piling up, a whole lot of litter, I don't mean a litter, I mean trash, she decided to dress up as a clown to clean it all up. Now, that might not seem like a solution to pollution, so she explained to David Begnaud why she created Trash the Clown.
Just outside of Detroit, on the banks of Lake Huron, is the city of Port Huron. And there, amid a population of nearly 30,000 people, one person is making a spectacle out of a simple act of community service.
I don't come back home until I have filled a 32-gallon bag.
This is Trash the Clown, a stay-at-home mom who noticed garbage piling up around her city and decided to do something unconventional yet impactful. She hit the town dressed as a clown, armed with trash bags and a shopping cart she calls Carter, to clean up Port Huron. Behind this quirky mom is a deeper purpose. How did you come up with this idea?
One idea was the idea to create a character that people at first would be uncomfortable with. Because clowns are kind of like divisive. If I can make you change your mind about clowns, right, then I could probably make you change your mind about a lot of things.
But are you trying to change people's minds about clowns, or are you trying to change people's minds about litter?
About not just litter, but how they see the world and how they see each other. We go throughout our days without really seeing the world around us, without really engaging one another. So if we can learn to actually engage the world, see it, then we start to see the litter on the ground. Then we can see how, we're hateful to one another, and how we can fill in those gaps with kindness and with love, and how that kindness and love can steamroll into something amazing and beautiful. That's the way you fix things.
It was a viewer named Dolly Becker who first told me and my team about trash.
I think every town needs somebody, to advocate to clean things up. Take pride in your town.
Dolly doesn't live in Port Huron, but she grew up there and keeps up with her hometown. She wrote to us, quote, "I started seeing all these posts about some clown walking around with a shopping cart picking up trash. Some would take photos and post and ask, what the heck is this person doing? As you can imagine, there were many unkind comments saying the person was homeless or that they had a mental illness. So Dolly got in touch with Trash to find out for herself. And she ended up making a new friend and even started defending her online."
If she was just out there in jeans and a sweatshirt picking up trash, no one would look twice. You wouldn't think, that it was really actually something that she was doing because she wanted to do it.
It's a simple shtick, Yeah, I just go around and pick up trash when I see it. The world is really noisy, so it's hard to hear good messages sometimes. And so to kind of cut through all that negative noise, sometimes you have to speak loud, but loud in a different way.
Trash is now the talk of the town. But you know what? People aren't trash talking her like they used to, because they see the good. They know the value. And hundreds of her neighbors have even turned out to help her clean up their city. You don't break character, even with people who reach out to you to compliment you. You didn't want to take your makeup off for us and show us who you really are. Why?
Because I don't want it to be about me. It's insignificant to the character and to what I want to do. I want people to see the world as we're in it together. We're a community, and we can get stuff done together. It's not about just one person or a clown. This is a mascot.
That is our show. I hope it lifted you up and brightened your day. If for some reason it didn't, go ahead and press play again. Those reruns are free. I'm gonna go find some good news.
This episode of The Uplift is presented by Land O'Lakes Incorporated, a farmer-owned cooperative.